Why Black Lives Matter, a statement by me, Saalih Muhammad. And it starts, why Black Lives Matter? This is not a question or a request. It is a statement meant to penetrate the souls of Black Americans and ignite the fire that will burn down the systematic racism that we encounter in all its forms. Black Lives Mattered in 1619 when we arrived in Virginia to be sold as property, while those who did not make the journey died along the Middle Passage by the millions. Black Lives Mattered in 1850 when Harriet Tubman began leading hundreds of fugitive slaves to freedom. Black Lives Matter when slaveholders offered $40,000 for her capture, over $1 million in today's currency. The price of freedom is exceptionally high when the laws you live under allow for the re-enslavement and killing of your Black bodies. Black Lives Matter during the Reconstruction era when lynching, vagrancy laws, and sharecropping emerged to constrain and restrict Black Americans' movement throughout the South. Americans who have been promised a legal right to freedom and citizenship. Black Lives Mattered in 1955 when a 14-year-old Emmett Till was kidnapped, savagely beaten, and shot in the head. We mattered when a metal fan was tied around his neck with barbed wire and his body pushed into a river by Roy Bryant and his half-brother J.W. Millam. These atrocities were brought on by an accusation from Roy Bryant's wife, Carolyn, that Emmett whistled at and assaulted her. She admitted later in life that these accusations were a lie. Bryant and his accomplice, Millam, were acquitted of murdering Emmett Till after the jury deliberated for just 67 minutes. They were released on bond with kidnapping charges pending, but a grand jury refused to indict them and they went free. The Civil Rights era came not long after the murder of Emmett Till. It was a response to generations of unwillingness from the judicial system to provide Black lives with justice for heinous crimes against them. A refusal to acknowledge that Black lives matter. Those crimes were and still are a part of our everyday experience as an ethnic group here in this country. Black Lives Matter last week when George Floyd was murdered in broad daylight by Derek Chauvin and 3 other officers who have yet to be charged criminally. In my eyes, Black Lives Matter is a 2-part declaration. The first part is for America, to tell this country that we will no longer stand for the neglect and disregard for our lives and communities. This apathy towards Black lives comes in the form of police killings that go unpunished, the harsh sentences for minor drug offenses, and the redlining of our communities that leads to the denial of federal funding, local government and private sector services, banking services, insurance services, healthcare, quality education, and more. It comes in the form of gerrymandering, literacy tests, and voter ID legislation meant to suppress the political power Black people have. The system has found countless ways to exclude Black people from wealth opportunities. The second part of this declaration is to ourselves. Black Lives Matter says that our hardships in America are not our lives' destiny, that we are not relegated to secondhand citizenship. It is a history of our resilience, strength, intellect, value, and our contributions to ourselves and America as a whole. Our fortitude knows no bounds, and we will continue to exemplify grace and power like a storm rolling over the skyline whose thunder and lightning strikes on to the hearts of its observers. So I'll leave you with this. If even one name I mention is unfamiliar to you, if even one concept I mention, redlining, voter suppression, gerrymandering, is unfamiliar to you, then it is your duty to educate yourselves, educate your families, help fix the problem by blowing away the smoke that has allowed racism to hide unchecked in the United States. Take direct action by using your voice and your vote to force change to happen. Rest in peace to George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and countless other Black lives lost senselessly and far too young. May the Most High provide you a place of peace and one love.